Hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I go by Cap. I started playing ranked Dota about 2 years ago, and since then I climbed from Crusader, where I got calibrated into Divine, which I hit last week. Today I hit Divine 3 and I'm still climbing, hopefully. I streamed pretty much all of my climb. Here's a graph of my evolution over time. I generated this with a Python script I wrote, link in the description if anyone is interested. Ever since I started climbing, I grew a lot, and looking online, I see a lot of people going through the same struggles I went through and making the same mistakes. What I noticed over time is that most people who ask, what do I have to do in order to climb? They start learning all these tips about how to play better, how to maintain lane equilibrium, how to itemize properly, how to play around vision, how to maintain map control, etc. But I think for a lot of people, the main issue isn't their gameplay per se, but their fundamental approach to Dota and the mentality they have going into Dota games. And this is what I wanna focus on today. With this long introduction out of the way, here are 5 tips that helped me climb from Crusader to Divine. Number 1. Realize you're bad at Dota. This is the single most important item on this list. If you only take away one thing from this video, I want it to be this one. I know it's a hard pill to swallow, but if you are stuck at a certain MMR and can't climb out, it's because you, yes you, are not good enough. It's not your teammates, there is no supernatural force giving you a bad team every single game, there isn't a Valve employee sitting at their desk going screw this guy in particular and manually putting you into horrible games, it's you. If you want to climb the ladder, you need to improve. Sure, in some games, maybe most games, you get matched with a crappy team, but you know what? So does everyone else. Everyone gets bad teammates from time to time, and yet some people, despite that, manage to climb. How do they do it? Well, they are simply good enough to overcome the bad odds. Remember, you don't have to win every game. You only have to win more games than you lose. In Dota, I would say about 30% of the games you play, you get matched with bad players and lose no matter what. And about 30% of games, you get matched against bad players and you'll win no matter what. And only in the remaining 40% of games does it actually matter how you play. If you get good enough to win most of those 40% of games, your win rate goes above 50% and you eventually climb up. That's all there is to it. Number 2, play to improve, not to win. This ties into the first point that we made. Now that you realize you're bad and need to improve, your goal is to improve. It doesn't matter if you win or lose a match, what matters most is what you learned from the experience. After each game, analyze your replay, identify your own mistakes, and ask yourself what you could have done better. And I repeat, ask yourself what you could have done better, not what your teammates could have done better. It doesn't make sense to focus on aspects over which you have no control, like what your teammates are doing. Did you lose your lane? Identify what the enemy did better than you and try to apply that in your next game. The way this helps you is actually twofold. First of all, analyzing your own gameplay will accelerate your learning curve much more rapidly than mindlessly playing game after game. But secondly, and this is equally or even more important, it will prevent you from getting tilted. Did you ever play a bunch of Dota matches, lost most of them, look back on them and go, damn, I lost so much MMR today, I really wish I hadn't played today, this was a complete waste of time. And then you go to bed feeling sad? Or even worse yet, you queue for another game because I have to win a game to make today worthwhile. I'm sure this happened to all of us at some point. Well, if you approach each match trying to improve, not necessarily win, then you won't feel those losses as negatives because you learned something from each one. Even though you lost MMR, you got better at the end of the game, and that's what matters. Remember, if you get good enough, the MMR will eventually come. That doesn't mean though that you shouldn't try winning. Number 3. Try your hardest no matter the circumstances. Let's play a little quiz. I'll present you with some situations and you tell me what the best thing to do in those situations is. Question number 1. Your Necrophos techies offlane feeds. They flame each other, techies disconnects, Necro unpauses, techies gets an abandon, and now you're playing as 4. Do you A. Frame the Necrophos for unpausing. B. Frame the techies for abandoning. C. AFK fountains so the game ends faster. Or D. Try your hardest and win the game. If you answer D, then congratulations, you are correct. Try your hardest and win the game. Woo! 4v5 easy, boys? I died once. Oh, shit. Still reporting techies though. Number 2. You are playing mid lane. You get completely destroyed. You are 0-5 by minute 10. Do you A. The game is hopeless so you just give up. B. Destroy your items and go next. C. Start flaming the team for not helping you. Or D. Try your hardest and win the game. The correct answer is D. Try your hardest and win the game.
But there's one they fear. In their tongue, he's Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
Did you just go from 0-5 to 9-5?
What the f***? I forgot I was on Discord. Yes, I did.
Pretty good.
Okay, last one. Your Magnus Earthshaker offlane is feeding. They start flaming each other. Shaker starts echoing creeps to farm. Do you A. Frame Magnus for being an idiot? B. Frame Shaker for being an idiot? C. Frame both of them because they are equally idiots? Or D. Try your hardest and win the game? Yeah, you guessed it. You try your hardest and, well, we didn't end up winning that game, but at least we tried. You get the point. In fact, most games when disasters like these happen, you're realistically not gonna win. But if you don't give up and try our best, you'll at least win some of the time. That some of the time might very well be the difference between stagnating at 50% win rate and climbing with 51%. Plus, you not only get to learn a lot from these games in which you make epic comebacks, but let's face it, you are also getting a very memorable and fun game, which in the end is why we're all playing Dota, right? You get the satisfaction that you were good enough to win despite all of these things going wrong, and that's a huge morale boost. You should also know that you're not actually saving any time by destroying your items so the game ends faster. I made a video on this a while ago, but the TLDR version is that if you win, you get a delta of 60 MMR from -30 to +30, and 60 MMR takes on average such a long time to get back that going for that small percentage to get it right away is actually worth it. Number 4. Never play while you're tilted. Calm players almost always make better decisions, so playing while tilted is a horrible idea. Of course, nobody is perfect, so we're all gonna get tilted from time to time, right? That's okay. The important thing is being able to identify that and stop playing when it happens, or at least stop playing ranked. Analyze some replays, play custom games, go outside for a walk, take some deep breaths, have a small break, anything that helps you calm down. Just don't queue up for another ranked game. A rule I used to follow and it helped me a lot is if I lose 3 games in a row, I'm done for the day. Don't fall into the I have to win a game before bad time trap. That's a surefire way to go on a deep loss streak. Number 5. Never, and I mean never, be rude to your team. I want to emphasize that this isn't just because it's the right thing to do, it's because this is objectively the best way to climb. Let me explain. This is because of 3 main reasons. First of all, every second you spend framing your team is a second you're not spending focusing on the game. If you lose focus, not only do your chances to win drop significantly, but you'll also learn less from the match since you won't be paying as much attention to details. Secondly, framing your team is a surefire way to get tilted, and as previously discussed, tilted players almost always play worse and make bad decisions. Thirdly, you're not only tilting yourself, but you're also tilting your team, which further decreases the odds of winning. Let's consider this scenario. Let's say that your anti-mage is feeding his lane. He's 0-5, missing last hits, having a horrible game. That poor guy is already feeling down on his luck. He's sad, he's not playing well, not putting his whole heart into the game. The last thing that man wants to hear is, Wow, this anti-mage sucks so bad, holy crap. After hearing that, he gets completely demoralized and just gives up. And like it or not, you need your carry to win the game. Whereas if you say, it's okay guys, anti-mage will eventually catch up, let's try to make some space for him and help him come back into the game. Boom! All of a sudden, the anti-mage gets a morale boost, he starts focusing more, he puts more thought into his farming patterns, comes back into the game and carries. Or maybe he just keeps feeding anyway and you lose, but you know what? That's going to happen much less often than if you'd flamed them right away. Oh, and on a side note here, by flaming, I don't just mean jestem podskan go kurwa midor feed podge noob, but even small things like, say someone is being toxic in chat and you want to mute them. Go ahead and mute them, but don't type muted in chat, because believe it or not, that's an instance of toxicity, and it will tilt your teammate, even more than they already are. Instead of saying, AFK mid, gank top, holy crap, try saying, hey, we're kinda losing top, would it be possible to get some help here? You may not believe me, but that helps a lot. Even in the Dota environment, a little bit of kindness goes a long way. So, wow, that's a lot to take in. Let's sum it up. Number 1, realize you're bad at Dota. Number 2, play to improve, not to win. Number 3, always try your hardest, no matter the circumstances. Number 4, never play while tilted. And number 5, never flame your team. Here's the thing, I know it's not easy to do all of this. It's not easy to accept some facts and to shift one's mentality. Heck, even I find myself breaking these principles from time to time. But if you manage to follow these, I guarantee that you'll climb out of wherever you're stuck in. I did it, you can do it too. These were my 5 tips that helped me climb out. For me, the next step is trying to reach that juicy immortal level. I'm sure it's going to be tough, it's gonna take a lot of work, and I'm going to have to improve a lot. But I'm optimistic about being able to do it. If you want to join me on my journey, you can follow the adventure at twitch.tv/clubdota. And hopefully, I'll see you there.